Bienvenidos, and welcome to my channel. I've been a fan of D&D for a very long time, and beyond the very cool dice, great storytelling, and imaginary worlds, I fell in love with the miniatures. I painted my first minis around that time, and have been painting them ever since. So follow along with my channel, and see if this old dog gamer can learn some new tricks. And now, the story continues in episode 17, Day of the Painted Dead. The continuing saga of one nerd's hobby obsession to paint the Zombicide minis for a friend at work. This time, I'm narrowing down my batch to one sculpt, the bold wannabe Mulder-looking dude. I chose 4 colors for the suits: Tyrian Navy, Noble Skin, Gravelord Gray, and Occultist Cloak. As always, I thinned down my speed paints with a ratio of 3 drops of paint to 1 drop of thinner. This seems to work well for me in most applications, but if I'm looking for a less vibrant color, I'll usually make it 2 to 1. Time for a quick shout out to my friends at the Kobold's Lair.
Need dice out on the high seas? What about minis in the jungle? We've got you covered with paints, terrain, minis, and more. Located at 1270 Front Street in Crescent City. Open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. The Kobold's Lair, supplying your battlefield since 2023.
With that phase done, it was time to paint the shirts. I wanted to do one mini similar to the art in the rulebook, so I used blinding light. For the next mini, I experimented with peachy flesh. I got moderate results, but not enough to make me want to do more than one. You can take the nerd out of the 80s, but you can't take the 80s out of this nerd. I wanted to try one mini with Princess Pink, and while I got serious flashback from my teens, I chose to do only one in that color. Then I took a trip over to Yuppieville and went with pastel indigo, pastel lavender, and pastel seafoam for the rest of them. Finally, it was time to zero in on the details of each mini, the tie, the belt, the shoes, and so on. This turned out to be one of the faster phases of the process. I decided that I wanted to keep some things universal among all the minis, so for the details I kept the same color for all of them. For the tie and shoes, I went with Grim Black. Since the minis have name badges, I got the vibe of a government employee, so the basic black tie is almost a uniform anyway. I thought having a brown belt would be a nicer contrast to the darker suit, helping showcase the color of the shirt. For this, I went with hardened leather, my stable standby for all things made of leather. Finally, to round it out, I used Aztec gold for the tarnished gold belt buckles. Next it was on to the quick shades. For the zombie skin, I went with my original choice of Moldy Wash. It's an Army Painter shade that I got with Gale Force 9 Acerarak painting kit, and I use it quite often on undead minis. For the rest of the mini, I went with a basic dark tone quick shade. It brought down the brightness of the original colors, making them more believable as zombies. Lastly, I used Lava Orange for the eyes. I thought it would make a nice contrast against the skin and an added element of sci-fi. As awesome as they look, they are missing the most important feature: the blood. It was time to break out my favorite technical paint, Blood for the Blood God by Citadel. It's another of my undead mini go-to paints, especially for the more gory ones. That wraps up the majority of the suit and tie guy. I'm choosing to wait until all the minis are done before I finish the bases. I want to try and match the colors with the game board itself, and I think it would be better to do that phase all at once. I hope you liked this episode. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and then hit that like button. If you haven't already, tap the subscribe button and stay on top of the latest episodes. You can also help me build my audience by sharing this video with your friends and family. Remember, they ain't gonna paint themselves.